Eve, you always give us a great mindset hack every week to get us going on the right foot in the Power Hour. What do we got this week?
Although it's the start of the year, it might be a little bit early to be talking about it, but it's burnout. And it happens to all of us, and it definitely happens to the best of us. It happens to the peak performers. It happens to the top athletes. We're right in the middle of the Olympics. You can guarantee that a lot of athletes feel burnout. And part of the reason why, I'll tell you part of the reason why, is heroic individualism. And this comes from a book called The Practice of Groundedness by Brad Stulberg, if anybody wants to look him up. So what he talks about is for people who are going towards success, peak performance, and high achievement, burnout actually becomes very common. And the recent studies show that 75% of workers experience burnout and 62% of leaders are currently experiencing burnout. And those are or post-pandemic stats. So it's really, I think, this constant climb, and I talk about this sometimes, constant climb towards the top. If we lose perspective of who we are, and that's where the groundedness comes in, if we lose perspective of what matters, then we are continually focusing on, and what happens is we get caught in this cycle of focusing on external goals. And I've worked with a high performance coach before who talked about people who climb mountains kind of for a living. And those people, and I know a lot of extreme athletes as well, who are constantly pushing themselves and constantly pushing the limits. But what my coach says is a lot of times those guys are climbing away from something in the pursuit of this goal, in the pursuit of this mountain, in the pursuit of this peak. And for us business leaders, in the pursuit of growth, in pursuit of success, in pursuit of a title, in pursuit of the number that's in our bank account. And so we push and push and push, and it's really prevalent. And we hear so much about how we can be better, work more efficiently, be stronger, and just push and push and push. And it's crushing a lot of people. And we're losing sight of what really matters. And the problem is we get to the top of the mountain. The guy who climbs Everest, he gets to Everest, he does it. Guess what he does? Books his next mountain, because Everest is never enough. There's always going to be something else, because we're filling something that might be missing, possibly. And what happens is we get burnt out. We get exhausted, we get depressed, we get anxiety, there's mental health issues that come up. We have regular health issues that come up. And so if anybody's with me on this, and if anybody's experienced burnout, then please drop your comments in the Q&A and let's talk about how to deal with it. Jeremiah, any thoughts on this before, as I go ahead?
I just want to underline something. A lot of people that are chasing the next thing are running away from something. Yeah. I think that's a really big takeaway. And, we could do a whole sesh just on that, but I think it's good to keep in mind that as you're going up the mountain, nobody here is saying it's wrong to go up mountains, but are you enjoying the journey, right? It's a little bit cliche and overstated, but I find that in the context of achievement, and I find that insurance and financial advisors are all extremely high achievers. It's one of the few industries in the world where you really don't have an income cap. You can create your own mountain peaks. And I've seen a lot, having coached over 100,000 advisors over 15 years, I've seen how many advisors either have a mountain peak that's way too high, it's way too low, or it's somewhere in between, but they don't have the belief systems to get there because of what this whole session is about the burnout, the resolution burnout. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest, but yes, completely tracking with you here, Eve.
Yeah. So here's 2 things we can do. The author states 6, and I'll touch on 2, and then I'll add an extra bonus third one before we go. But 1 is accept reality. This is fine. This is fine. We've all seen this meme. No, it's not fine. It doesn't need to always be fine. If you're posting on social media, if you're posting on LinkedIn, if you're posting to the world, if you find yourself in this kind of repeating cycle, yeah, everything's great, awesome, I'm doing great, and the reality is you're not doing great, you don't need to tell that to everybody, but please don't lie to yourself and say everything is good. I'm crushing it, blah, 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 blah. I'm in perfect health. There is also this mentality that we can fake it till we make it, and that only gets us so far. So if we're seriously experiencing burnout, if we're seriously experiencing mental health issues, depression issues, and this is what brought the author to writing this book and going deeper into the practice of groundedness is he himself found himself in a deep depression and developed OCD. And so by accepting, hey, this is where I'm at, and you can tell yourself, this is where I'm at and I'm doing my best. That's a bit of a mantra for you to use, is this is where I'm at and that's okay. Because recognizing where you are at, the position you are at, and accepting where you're at and reality is the first step to being able to move forward and to become stronger and to push past it. Because you can't tuck down feelings, you can't tuck down emotions, you can't just push them to the side and expect them to disappear. You have to deal with them and accept them, deal with the fire, put out the fire, otherwise it will burn down the house. And the second one is asking yourself, and this is about focusing, is what I'm doing really necessary? Is what I'm doing, is this mountain really the most important thing? Is this going to get me to my goal? Am I putting everything, am I putting the best of myself into climbing this mountain, into achieving the success and leaving all these other things by the wayside? And we've seen, I don't need to name them because they're incredibly prominent, but we've seen the biggest business leaders in the world have their relationships crumble after years and years and a lifetime of success and achieving everything you would think that they would want. And yet at the end of the day, it's, if you're not nurturing, think of it about, you only have so much water in your bucket every day. What are the seeds that you want to grow? And you do want to grow your business seeds. You do want to grow your financial seeds, of course, but you also want to maintain your personal seeds. Your mental health, your physical health is a really big one, as well as your relationships and your community. Which brings me to, I don't have a slide for this, but I'll just drop the third one because it's so relevant to us and it's something we're already doing, is develop a community and use your community and your network. Nobody has to go it alone. And we have this fabulous, fantastic network that everybody's already in here at Shift Nation. And we understand each other. And there's nobody in the professional world that's going to understand your struggle and your story better than the people in Shift Nation, who are fighting the same battle that you're fighting. They're fighting the same wars and they're on the front lines in the same way. And many of them have probably gone through what you're going through and have maybe come out on the other side, or are going through, if you're going through something, and are looking for another support network to relate to and to come out on the other side, or even just in your pursuit of success, lean and help and work with other people, because it's going to make everything go faster and a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. And I'll hand it over to you, Jeremiah, for some closing thoughts there.
Thank you. This is actually a very timely topic. It's hard to maintain genuine excitement about new things. That's an interesting statement because typically new is associated with excitement. So if somebody finds himself in a place where new things are no longer exciting, could be we need to relook at what mountain we're climbing, because we were actually wired to find new things interesting, which is why we have a crisis of dopamine hits today. There's a lot of neuroscience has been done on the effects of social media and how Facebook engineered their entire platform to give dopamine hits. And dopamine is a small rise. It's a small chemical rise that your brain gets, almost like a small excitement, but it's an addictive one, which is what makes people keep going back to their streams to see what else is new. Did anyone write me, or gets us back to Slack, or gets us back to email? What's going on? Do I get that hit again? As opposed to serotonin, which is like more of a stable, joyous chemical, which comes from like getting a hug, or petting a dog, or sending us a moment of gratitude to somebody and just telling them how much you appreciate them. That's the more long-lasting one. So that's an interesting thought, Jack. Thank you for bringing that up. Another one, Lisa, I love your point about Shift Nation going through the same thing. So Shift Nation, listen up. Lisa's saying that I worry about my staff and me all the time. We have many, many older clients that they've been losing 3 clients a week to COVID and related issues. And she admits, and I salute you, Lisa, she says, that is tough. That is you're exactly applying the mindset hack. Yeah, it is tough. You can't be saying I'm losing 3 clients a week. Things are great. Yeah. So very, very good self-awareness there, Lisa. So these are really, really good points. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of people chiming in too. So this is, but I encourage everybody in Shift Nation to continue this conversation offline. We have our Facebook group, we have our LinkedIn groups. So spark those conversations, and then you might be interested to see, this is a really great form of networking, is who else is out there that even just understands and feels the same way that you do, or has been through. If you're going through a problem, lean on your community and post, hey, this is what I'm going through, and I've seen people do this in our Facebook group and it's brilliant. And then you have all this wealth of information and people who've already gone through the battle, and can help you get to the other side. And that's ultimately what it is. And you're going to fight a lot of battles in your career, but how you get through those and how you maintain this neutrality that you're talking about, as opposed to just going up and down with the dopamine hits. It's about staying grounded and staying neutral, staying calm, because you have a solid foundation.